What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of MLB action here on Tuesday, September 10th. Monday was a pretty short slate, guys. Didn't see a ton of stuff out there that we loved, but so far on the night, we're 2-1. We had the under in that Cincinnati-Atlanta game, 1-0 shutout there for Cincinnati. Martinez and Morton were both very, very solid in that one. We also had the Yankees -1.5 at +120. Just looked like too good of a spot. We don't love playing the Yankees right now. They were supposed to be on the banned list, but we could not pass up on this one, and they came through for us with a 10-4 win. That Kansas City bullpen still looks terrible. It was a very sloppy game with 4 total errors committed, but we will definitely take that +120 win in that game. We had the over there in the Mets-Toronto game, and that did not come through for us. It was a 3-2 win for the Mets. Toronto's bullpen somehow had a fantastic start for that game, and Megill also looked very, very good for the Mets, so a loss there. We've also got the Dodgers still. That game's going on right now. They are trailing in the top of the 4th inning, but anything can happen down the stretch, so we'll see what happens in that one, guys. Let's get after it with a full Tuesday MLB slate. Before we jump into the games, hit that like button, and if you're new around here or haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for free to get notifications of our daily uploads. You can now sign up for a channel membership. Channel members will get exclusive early access to all NFL and college football videos, and if you have other ideas for members perks, please let me know down in the comments. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering MLB, NCAA football, UFC, and the NFL. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up, and also to join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today, and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Colorado Rockies taking on the Detroit Tigers. The Rockies come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 there at Milwaukee, so pretty solid stuff there from Colorado, but not a team that's headed to the postseason this year. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Bradley Blaylock. He's 1-2 this year with a 5.40 ERA. His last start was not a great one at Atlanta, and yeah, guys, his last couple of starts have been pretty problematic, struggling against the Braves and the Marlins, and he did all right against the Yankees, so give him some credit there, but this young 23-year-old, I think we're going to see plenty of ups and downs here for him. In terms of their bullpen, the Rockies are the worst bullpen in Major League Baseball. It's kind of been something of a laughingstock at this point, guys. A 5.38 bullpen ERA is comically bad. In terms of their offense, they've been a bit better, guys, but 4, 2, 3, and 3 runs over their last few games, not really lighting the world on fire. They're 22nd in the majors in runs scored and 24th in the majors in on-base percentage, despite getting to play half of their games at Coors Field. So not an offense that I am super high on, guys. They are going on the road here to take on the Tigers, who come into this game fresh off of a series win for them as well. They won the last 2 games of their series at Oakland, winning 9-1 and 2-1. They lost game 1 7-6, so honestly had their chances in every game in that series. At 73 and 71 on the year, though, I'm not going to say they're killing it necessarily, but they're doing better than I would have expected, especially after being sellers there at the trade deadline. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to young Keter Montero. He's 4-6 on the season with a 5.47 ERA. His last start, guys, his struggles just continue. He was at the Padres. He went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 7 hits and 5 earned runs in a game we eventually saw the Tigers lose 6-5 there in extra innings. So not too good over his last 3 starts, and that starts at the Padres, at home against the Angels, and at the Chicago White Sox. He's just been steadily declining a little bit, showing some issues out there for sure. So we'll see what he can do. We'll see what we get from this bullpen, which has been very, very solid down the stretch, guys. They're currently 6th in the majors with a 3.64 bullpen ERA. So that is very, very respectable stuff. Expecting good stuff from this Tigers bullpen. In terms of their offense, though, guys, I mean, they're coming off a game where they scored 9 runs, so, you know, maybe swinging some slightly warmer bats here, but I'm not exactly going to be holding my breath. They've scored 9, 2, 6, 4, and 5 runs over the last few games. They're 19th in the majors in runs scored, but 25th in batting average, 28th, and on base percentage, this just really isn't a team that I'm super high on offensively. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Rockies at +150, the Tigers at -172. We've got an over-under of 8.5. Colorado is 22 and 53 on the road, so not so hot. Detroit is 35 and 34 at home, so respectable for this team to be above 500 at home. In terms of the over-under here, we've got some mixed trends. The Tigers are an under team at home, and Colorado's an over team on the road. That over-under of 8.5 doesn't interest me, and generally speaking, guys, in this game, I'm not too interested in either side a whole lot. I guess go ahead and give me the Tigers at home with the Rockies being so bad on the road, but generally, guys, this is not a game that I'm going to be on. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the Miami Marlins going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Marlins lost game 1 of the series 3-2, so not that great there, but an under in that game for sure. Skeens looked very, very good out there with nine strikeouts. The Marlins at 54-90 on the year, not having a very good time. They're handing the ball to Adam Oller, who's 1-2 this season with a 4.15 ERA. He's coming off of a mediocre start against the Phillies. 5 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs. Not his best work, guys. He walked 5 in that game, so yeah, definitely having some control issues. We'll see if he can get back on track here. The dude has had some very, very solid outings over his last 5. I mean, I would say 2 of them were good and 2 of them were pretty bad. So a little bit worried about Oller here. Always going to be a bit worried about that Miami bullpen that is down to somewhere in the bottom 10 in the majors with a 4.18 ERA. That is not a very solid bullpen anymore, guys. So definitely concerns there. And the offense, obviously coming off a game where they scored 2 runs, not lighting it up. They've scored 2, 10, 9, 2, and 2 runs over their last few. They did have those 2 crazy games against the Phillies, so that's something, but this has just not been a great offensive team this season. They're 29th in the majors in runs scored. They're leading only the Chicago White Sox. When your name gets mentioned alongside the Chicago White Sox in an offensive category, you know you are in trouble. They're also 29th in on-base percentage and 25th in slugging percentage. So not holding my breath for them to score a ton of runs here going up against the Pirates, who come into this game fresh off of back-to-back wins at 68 and 76 on the year, though not having the time they were imagining. They're hitting the ball in this one to Carmen Bladowski, who comes in this game with a 3.73 ERA. He's normally a bullpen guy, so he's going to be getting the chance to make a start in this one. His last bullpen appearance was not great against the Nationals. The one before that was fine, but he's got knocked around even out of the pen here, so hitting the ball for a start, even against a team like the Marlins, does seem a little bit concerning. In terms of their bullpen, the Pirates have been really bad recently, guys. The whole second half of the season just been a nightmare. They're down to 4th from last, so 26th in the majors with a 4.66 bullpen ERA. That is very, very bad, guys, no doubt about it, and the offense hasn't been killing it either. They've scored 3, 7, 6, 3, and 9 runs over their last few, so honestly, hitting the ball a little bit better here, and going up against a team like the Marlins, maybe they do have a chance to have a decent offensive day, but this has not been a great offense this season, guys. 20th in runs scored, 26th in on-base percentage. This just isn't a team that you can trust to hit the ball hard. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Marlins at 26 and 42 on the road. That's pretty freaking bad, guys. The Pirates are 34 and 38 at home. We've got mixed trends here towards the over-under. Miami is a huge under team on the road, and the Pirates are a slight over team at home with an over-under of 9. I guess maybe you can interest me in that under, but generally speaking, guys, this is not a game that I have a huge lean on. I don't trust that Pirates bullpen. I don't trust Miami in really any facet of this game. If you're forcing me to bet this one, I guess go ahead and give me the Marlins at plus 126, just based on the fact they're going to be going against the Pirates bullpen all day. But overall, guys, this is a pass for me. Next up, we're looking at the Tampa Bay Rays going on the road to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. The Rays come into this game fresh off of a 2-1 loss there thanks to a walk-off, so that has to be pretty devastating there. At 71 and 73 on the season, the Rays have been respectable but not nearly good enough to be headed to the postseason. They're going to be hitting the ball to Taj Bradley. He's 6 and 10 this year with a 4.40 ERA. He's struggled over his last 4 starts. His last time out against the Twins, he gave up 6 hits and 4 earned runs, including 2 home runs, over 7 innings of work. He did strike out 10 in that start, so he had some positive things going. At 23 years old, we expect this guy to be a bit up and down. He's shown great stuff, though, so I definitely think he's capable of big things, but I don't know if a lot of big things are going to be happening to him this season. In terms of their bullpen, we've seen very reasonable stuff from Tampa Bay here down the stretch. A 3.71 bullpen ERA has them currently ranked 7th in the majors. This was a bullpen that wasn't very good earlier in the year. They've kind of turned things around. Can't really say the same for this offense, guys. They've scored 1, 2, 7, 0, 3, and 9 runs over their last few games. They're 28th in the majors in runs scored, 29th in the majors in slugging percentage. Just not an offense that you can trust to go out there and put up 3 or 4 or 5 runs in a game. That is not always going to happen, just like it didn't happen yesterday where they scored 1 run. So we'll see what they can do here against the Phillies, who come into this game fresh off of that 2-1 win. They're 86 and 58 on the season, guys. They're 7 games up in the NL East, so they're pretty much in cruise control right now. They're hitting the ball to Ranger Suarez, who's 12 and 6 on the season with a 2.90 ERA. He finally seems like he got back on track. His last start was against the Marlins, and he was dominant. 5 innings, 3 hits, 0 runs allowed. He walked 2 and struck out 4. So if this is the return of Ranger Suarez to form, that could be very, very good stuff here for this Phillies team. That's a big deal for them once the playoffs roll around. In terms of their bullpen, that's been a question for the Phillies. They are improving here pretty steadily down the stretch, but a 3.91 ERA coming out of the pen. does leave plenty of room there for improvement. So we'll see what they get from the pitching staff in this game. I'm expecting good stuff, at least from Suarez. In terms of the offense, guys, 2, 1, 5, 16, 5, and 4 runs over their last few. Doesn't fill me with tons of optimism here. I mean, they've been a little banged up. We've seen some guys slumping a little bit. You know, maybe we'll get back on track here at some point, but right now I don't feel like they're swinging the hottest bats. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Rays at plus 145, the Phillies at minus 162. We've got an over-under of 8 or 7.5. You can find both numbers out there. Tampa Bay 34 and 34 on the road. The Phillies are a great home team at 47 and 24 at home. The Tampa Bay Rays are 37, 30 and 1 to the under on the road, and we see the Phillies are also a slight under team at home. So I guess you could maybe talk me into under 8 in this game, but not particularly interested in that, guys. More interested in just the Phillies to win this game straight up. I think they'll find a way here against Taj Bradley. Ranger Suarez has been throwing the ball great, so I think he's going to keep him in this game, and their bullpen has looked a bit better, and going up against the weak hitting Tampa Bay Rays should help that situation a bit. So give me the Phillies at minus 162. We'll see if this makes it into the pinned comment. Obviously, I'm not in love with that price. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. First of all, this is a great time to sign up at stumpthespread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our entire team of cappers covering MLB, NCAA football, UFC, and the NFL. If you just want to test out the service, a great way to do that is by joining our free email list, which will get you the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just go ahead and click that link in the description. It'll take you right over to stumpthespread.com. Also, guys, just to clarify some of the questions we've been getting in the emails and in the comments, I am not the MLB capper for stumpthespread.com. These YouTube picks are obviously free to everyone and are just what I am seeing out there. We have an expert with nearly 15 years of experience that covers MLB and has a very strong algorithm and some very cool tools that he uses to bring our premium members the best picks possible. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're new. Now back to the games. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Atlanta Braves going on the road to take on the Washington Nationals. The Braves come into this game fresh off of a pretty disappointing 1-0 loss there in game 1 of their series against Cincinnati. Or actually, that wasn't game 1 of a series. That was a makeup game. But still, not what they wanted in that one at 78 and 66 on the year. They're 8 games back in the NL East. They're going to be giving the ball to Reynaldo Lopez in this game. He's 8 and 5 on the year with a 2.04 ERA. He's coming off of another very solid start. It was against the Rockies. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs. He did give up 2 home runs in that game, but he also walked 0 and struck out 11. That was a game we eventually saw the Braves lose 3-1. So pretty disappointing stuff there. Obviously, Reynaldo Lopez got to be hoping for a little bit more run support in this game, but you don't really know if you're going to get that. The last time he went up against the Nationals, he was very, very good as well. 6 innings, 3 hits, only 1 run allowed. He struck out 7 in that game in another tough loss there for the Braves. So yeah, just really struggling to get run support. Obviously, this pitching staff's been very, very good. The Braves are the 3rd best bullpen in Major League Baseball with a 3.23 bullpen ERA. The problem is the offense. They've scored 0, 4, 5, 3, 1, 5, and 3 runs over their last few games. It's not like they've been facing the toughest opponents. That's against Colorado, Toronto, and Cincinnati. So definitely need to get back on track here, but that has not been happening, guys. They're 20th in the majors in on-base percentage, 18th in runs scored. They lean very heavily on Ozuna to power this offense, and if he's not having an insane night, things don't usually go so great. So we'll see what they can do in this one. Going up against the Nationals, who just managed to split a 4-game series there against the Pirates. 64 and 79 on the year, though, not a team that's headed to the playoffs. They're going to be giving the ball to Mackenzie Gore in this game. He's 8 and 11 on the year with a 4.32 ERA. His last start, he was absolutely lights out against the Marlins. 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run in that game. He struck out 9 and walked 1. Unfortunately for him, that was the game we saw the Nationals lose, so that probably doesn't feel great, but generally speaking, I think he's happy with what he did out there. And the last time he faced the Atlanta Braves, it was at Atlanta. He went 6 innings. He gave up 7 hits, but he had 4 strikeouts and only gave up a single earned run in an extra inning game that we eventually saw Atlanta win 3-2. So we'll see what Gore can do in this game. We'll also see what we get out of that Washington bullpen that's been looking a little bit better recently, hovering around bottom 10 in the majors still with a 4.16 bullpen ERA, but they haven't been horrible this season. So we'll see what they do. We'll also see what we get from this offense. They've scored 3, 8, 5, 4, and 3 runs over their last few games. Not a great offense this season. 23rd in runs scored, 23rd in slugging percentage. Going up against the Braves, pitching staff and their bullpen, probably not going to be a great time. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Braves at minus 160, the Nationals at plus 136. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. Atlanta is 38 and 35 on the road. Washington is 32 and 37 at home. We've got both teams showing trends towards the under here. Atlanta 38, 31, and 4 to the under on the road, and Washington 33, 32, and 4 to the under at home. Guys, I think the value in this game, I mean, you could definitely take the Braves at minus 160. I think that's fine. I think it's slightly better to take under 8 in this one. I think we're going to see a very low scoring game. I think we'll see Lopez do his thing out there. I think we'll see good stuff from Mackenzie Gore, who's got some good history against the Braves. So go ahead and give me under 8. You could also take the Braves minus 160, but I think under 8 is the value. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Kansas City Royals going on the road to take on the New York Yankees. The Royals lost 10-4 in game 1 of this series to fall to 79-66 on the year. They're 3.5 games back of Cleveland in the AL Central. The Royals are going to be giving the ball in this one to Seth Lugo. He's 15-8 on the season with a 3.05 ERA. His last start was a great one against Cleveland. 7 innings, 6 hits, only a single earned run allowed. So very, very good stuff from him in that one. His last couple of starts have been very good, and generally speaking, he's had a very good season. No doubt about that. Got to give him his flowers for sure. The last time he faced the Yankees was back in mid-June. He went 7 innings, gave up 8 hits and 4 earned runs, so not necessarily a lights-out performance, but he didn't get destroyed either. The problem for the Royals right now is that bullpen, a 4.43 bullpen ERA, has them 24th in the majors, and definitely always a concern when you hand this team a lead, this bullpen a lead. Are they going to be able to hang on to it? Seems like usually the answer is no. This offense, coming off a game where they only scored 4 runs, probably doesn't feel great. 4, 2, 4, 5, and 4 runs over their last few. Not amazing. Obviously, we're seeing great stuff from Bobby Witt Jr., but he can only do so much out there. The Royals are 8th in the majors in runs scored, 7th in the majors in batting average, but 16th in on-base percentage, and most of these numbers here, guys, are trending in a negative direction. So we'll see what they can do against the Yankees, who come into this one winners of 3 out of their last 4. They're 83-61 on the year. They've now got a game-and-a-half lead over Baltimore there in the race to see who will win the AL East. They're going to be giving the ball to Marcus Stroman in this game. He's 10-7 on the year with a 4.03 ERA. In his last start, he got absolutely slammed by no other team than the Texas Rangers. Might be the second or third weakest team in terms of hitting out there, so we'll see if he can bounce back in this one going up against the Royals. Shouldn't be the toughest situation, but it's not nearly as easy as going up against a team like the Rangers is. The last time he faced the Kansas City Royals, guys, it was back in early June in that series. He went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 4 hits and no runs in a game we eventually saw the Yankees win that one 10-1. So expecting decent stuff from Stroman here in this bounce back spot, expecting decent stuff from this Yankees bullpen that I don't really feel like they're an elite bullpen anymore. A 3.81 ERA coming out of there is not looking like what we want. In terms of the offense, they came back alive for 10 runs. They won 10-4 despite Stanton sitting that game out. As far as I could tell, I think he would probably be playing in this one. If you guys have any news on that, please put it down below in the comments. But right now, I think it's pretty likely we see Stanton in this game. And when this offense is at full strength, guys, it's very, very good. Obviously, coming off that game where they scored 10 runs, they are 2nd in the majors in runs scored, 2nd in the majors in on-base percentage, and 4th in slugging percentage. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Royals at plus 126, the Yankees at minus 140. We've got an over-under of 8.5. The Royals are 34-35 on the road. The Yankees are 37-31 at home. We've got mixed trends here towards the over-under. The Royals are a significant under team on the road, but the Yankees are a significant over team at home. 40-27-1 to the over at home. Guys, I'd be lying if I said I loved this over-under. I'm more looking at the side in this game, and despite the Royals being at plus 126, I think there's a little bit of value to be had on the Yankees at minus 140. That being said, am I confident enough in this one to put it in the pinned comment? Absolutely not. We'll see what happens out there with Lugo and Stroman on the mound. This is a game that's mostly going to be a stay-away spot for me. Next up, guys, we're looking at the New York Mets going on the road to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. The Mets come into this game fresh off of a 3-2 win in Game 1 of this series. They've been actually killing it down the stretch here. They're up to 79-65 on the year. Still 7 games back in the NL East, but still they are playing some of their best ball of the season right now. They're giving the ball to David Peterson, who's 9-1 right now with a 2.75 ERA. His last start, he was lights out against the Red Sox. He's been very, very good over all of his last 5 starts, and just generally speaking, when he's on the mound, things are looking very, very good for the New York Mets. He has not faced Toronto yet this season, so that's going to be a new adventure for him, but I'm expecting very, very good things. In terms of their bullpen, the Mets haven't been amazing this season. A 3.91 bullpen ERA has them kind of middle of the pack, but definitely not a disaster, not a bullpen that you're terrified of, but maybe not one you have the most confidence in either. So we'll see what we get from the pitching staff here. I'm expecting pretty good things. We'll also see what we get from this Mets offense that feels like it's slumping a little bit. I mean, 3, 1, 4, 6, and 8 runs over the last few games. Not terrible numbers, but not what I've gotten used to seeing from this team. They're 8th in the majors in runs scored, 9th in the majors in on-base percentage. If this is actually going to be a top 10 offense, guys, proving that down the stretch here is going to be very, very nice for this team. So looking at their opponent in this game, they're taking on the Toronto Blue Jays, who are not having a great time. They've actually lost 6 out of their last 7 overall to fall to 68 and 77 on the year. They're giving the ball in this one to Chris Bassett. He's 9 and 13 this season with a 4.30 ERA. His last start was an interesting, kind of tough one against the Phillies in a game Toronto eventually lost 10-9. He kind of kept him in the game, but I'm not going to act like it was some sort of amazing outing, guys. It absolutely was not. So we'll see what he can do in this one. I'm not really holding my breath for miracles here, but I don't think he'll be terrible. Looking at how he's done against the Mets this season. Oh wait, he has not faced the Mets. So yeah, no information there, but generally speaking, how do we feel about Bassett? I'm a little bit on the fence, and guys, I'm absolutely not on the fence about this Toronto bullpen. They are one of the worst bullpens in Major League Baseball. 3rd worst overall. A 4.79 bullpen ERA is pretty atrocious, and the offense has not been great either, guys. 2, 3, 9, 1, and 2 runs over their last few games. Not expecting miracles from this offense. Looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Mets at -120, the Blue Jays at +102. We've got an over-under of 8.5 out there. The Mets are 37 and 31 on the road, so a respectable road team. Toronto is 34 and 35 at home, so about 500, kind of what you would expect. Looking at the over-under here, with an over-under of 8.5, we've got both teams showing trends towards the over. The Mets are 34, 30, and 4 to the over on the road, and Toronto is 40, 28, and 1 to the over at home. Do we want to take over 8.5 in this game? I suppose we could, guys. I don't think it's a terrible spot, but much better than that. I like the Mets at -120. That seems like a great price to me. I think they win this game the vast majority of the time, so go ahead and give me the Mets -120. This one's definitely going in the pinned comment. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Baltimore Orioles going on the road to take on the Boston Red Sox. The Orioles are having a rough time. They lost game 1 of this series 12-3, and they've now lost 3 in a row and 4 out of their last 5. 82 and 63 on the year doesn't look terrible, but they're now a game and a half back of the Yankees in the AL East. They're going to be giving the ball to Albert Suarez in this game. He's 7 and 5 this year with a 3.49 ERA, looking to bounce back after getting absolutely shelled by what team, guys? The Chicago White Sox. So pretty embarrassing stuff there. Not a team you want to get destroyed by. The last time he went up against Boston, he did give up 7 hits in his 6-inning start, but he struck out 6 and gave up 0 runs in a game we eventually saw Baltimore win 4-2. So that's positive, but yeah, I'm a little bit worried about him. I'm going to be worried about anybody coming off of a start where they got shelled by the White Sox. In terms of their bullpen, Baltimore's not having a great time down the stretch either. A 3.96 bullpen ERA is certainly below average in the majors, so that's not great. Definitely concerned about their pitching staff in this game overall, and I'm starting to get very concerned about this offense. They've scored 3, 0, and 1 runs over their last 3 games. Everybody seems like they're struggling here down the stretch, not able to, live up to that standard they set earlier in the season when everybody on the roster, it seemed like, was just hitting home run after home run. They're 4th in the majors in runs scored, 9th in batting average. They're still 1st in slugging percentage, but all of those numbers are headed in a negative direction. So definitely starting to get worried here about this Baltimore Orioles team. We'll see what they can do against the Red Sox, who come into this game winners of 3 out of their last 4, but 2 of those 3 wins were against the White Sox. The Red Sox at 73 and 71 on the year have a lot of work to do. They're going to be handing the ball to Cutter Crawford in this game, who's 8 and 13 on the year with a 4.08 ERA. His last 3 starts have all been very good, guys. Those are good starts against the Mets, Toronto, and Arizona, so pretty good stuff there. He also had a decent start back on the 18th of last month against Baltimore. That was at Camden Yards, where he went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 2 hits, 3 earned runs, gave up a home run. So yeah, he kept his team in the game, but they lost 4-2. So we'll see what he can do in this one. I'm not expecting him to be terrible. I am, however, expecting that Boston bullpen to be awful. A 4.60 bullpen ERA has them 25th in the majors. So pretty weak bullpen stuff there. A lot falls on the shoulders of this offense, and they are just not as good as they were earlier in the season, guys. Definitely worried about this Boston offense right now. I mean, yeah, 10th in runs scored, 5th in batting average, but these are all numbers that are heading in a negative direction. They've scored 12, 2, 7, 3, and 3 runs over their last few games, and that's 1 game against Baltimore and then a series against the White Sox. Like, just not a team that comes into this one swinging the hottest bat. So we'll see what we get out of them in this game. Not expecting miracles here, guys. Looking at the numbers, we've got Baltimore at -105, Boston at -108. We've got an over-under of 9 in this game. Baltimore's been a good road team this season, 40 and 29 on the road. Boston's been a bad home team. They don't play well at Fenway, going 33 and 39 at home. In terms of the over-under, we've got big over trends, guys. Baltimore is 41, 25, and 3 to the over on the road. That's an MLB best mark on the road. Boston, actually, with their sudden offensive downturn, is now an under team at home, but basically a 50-50 over-under team. Guys, I'm not confident enough in the bats in either team right now to take that over 9, so not really too interested in that over-under in terms of a side in this game. I would maybe side slightly towards Baltimore at -105, but this is very much a wait-and-see spot for me with 2 teams that look like they were going to be pretty good, struggling at the moment. So kind of a wait and see spot. If you're forcing me to bet it, give me what I just said, but yeah, not too high on this game in general. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Los Angeles Angels going on the road to take on the Minnesota Twins. The Angels come into this game fresh off of a win in Game 1 of this series at Minnesota, guys. They won 6-2 in that one. Detmers looked good in 6 strong innings out there, so they'll take that win, but it's 60-84 in the year. Not a ton of positives for this team. They're giving the ball to Griffin Canning, who's 5-12 this season with a 5.02 ERA. His last start was against the Dodgers, and he was lights out. 6 2/3 innings, 4 hits, only a single earned run, and a 10-1 win there for the Angels. So very, very impressive stuff. We'll see if he can back it up with another good start here going up against the Twins, but I'm not going to be holding my breath. This is not a guy that's really had an amazing season, so we'll see what we get out of Canning. We'll also see what we get from this bullpen that hasn't been good this year at all. I mean, they're out of the dumps, guys, but a 4.00 bullpen ERA is certainly not elite, and speaking of not elite, you can definitely put this offense in that category, guys. They've scored 6, 4, 4, 5, 1, and 10 runs over their last few games. So honestly, pretty good hitting for a team that is 27th in the majors in runs scored and 28th in batting average, batting only .228 as a team. That's pretty weak stuff. So we'll see what they can do here against the Twins, who come into this game losers of 4 in a row and 6 out of their last 7 overall. They're now 6 games back in the AL Central. Things not really working out here down the stretch for the Minnesota Twins. They're going to be hitting the ball to Pablo Lopez, who's 14-8 on the season with a 4.05 ERA. His last start was not as good as we normally expect to see from him, but 7 hits, 3 earned runs, and 9 strikeouts in a 4-3 win where he went 6 2/3 innings. Not the end of the world. He had thrown 3 shutouts in a row, so that was looking pretty crazy. Obviously, that streak had to come to an end at some point. Let's see how he does in this one. I'm not holding my breath, but I think we'll see him be pretty good. And in terms of their bullpen, the Twins have had their issues this season. Right now, we find them definitely in the bottom half of the majors with a 4.07 bullpen ERA, so that's not ideal in my book. And yeah, the offense hasn't necessarily been killing it lately either. They've scored 2-0, 2-0, and 4 runs over their last few. That is a big yikes for a team that was supposed to be very good on offense. Obviously, they are banged up right now. I mean, Correa being out is a big deal. So maybe this team can turn it around when those guys get back. But right now, the offense is looking pretty weak. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Angels at +220. We've got the Twins at -245. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. The Angels are 29-42 on the road, so a pretty bad road team. Minnesota is 39-30 at home, so pretty good at home. We've got mixed trends here towards the over-under. None of them are very significant. I mean, with the Angels being +220, that doesn't, that doesn't seem like a terrible spot, to be honest, if you're, definitely wanting to bet the side in this game. But with Lopez on the mound on the other side, that doesn't look great. So, guys, I'm leaning much more towards the under 8 in this game. I think that's the better value. I think that's got a much better chance to hit here. I mean, Lopez is a very good starter. Canning's been throwing the ball well lately, so I think that could lead to offense being at a premium, but I am worried about both of these teams' bullpens, although neither team's very good offensively. So go ahead and give me the under in this one. Let's see how it goes. Next on the docket, we've got the Cleveland Guardians going on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox. The Guardians come into this game fresh off of a 5-3 win in Game 1 of this series. They're 82-62 on the year, a 3.5 game lead in the AL Central. They need to be winning these games against this bad team to bolster their chances of winning the AL Central. They're giving the ball to Ben Lively. He's 11-9 this season with a 4.07 ERA. He's coming off of a couple of pretty weak starts, guys. A bad start against the Royals and a bad start against the light-hitting Pirates. Not a great look right now. He's not having the best time. He's had a good season overall, but right now seems like he's struggling a bit. And in terms of their bullpen, that's been great all year, guys. No doubt about that. The Cleveland bullpen first in the majors with a 2.77 ERA coming out of the pen. They'll certainly take that. No major problem there. Obviously, the offense hasn't been great. They scored 5-0, 2, 3, and 1 run over their last few. They're 14th in the majors in runs scored, 22nd in batting average. We've seen Stephen Kwan really not be great here down the stretch. Definitely major concerns about his production. We'll see what he can do, but yeah, not really holding my breath for miracles for Kwan. Obviously getting Monday off there, it looks like, unless that's a stat that hasn't updated yet. That's certainly possible. That happens from time to time. It looks like, oh yeah, Kwan definitely played, and he had a great game, so maybe he can, find his way back here going up against a team like the White Sox. So looking at the White Sox in this game, guys, they are 33-112 on the year. They're coming off that 5-3 loss. They're going to be hitting the ball to Jonathan Cannon, who's 3-9 on the season with a 4.53 ERA. Had a nice bounce back start against Baltimore his last time out, guys. This young dude has an amazing name. He's only 24 years old. Like, we're not expecting him to be a consistent starting pitcher. 5 2/3 innings, 5 hits, only a single earned run against Baltimore is pretty good stuff. That was a game we saw the White Sox also win 8-1. So we'll see what he can do here against Cleveland. I'm not going to be holding my breath for a great start here. could be a little bit tough for this young guy out there. So we'll see what he does. We'll all see what we get from that White Sox bullpen. I'm expecting it to be bad, guys. A 4.99 bullpen ERA is second worst in the majors, and the offense is absolutely worst in the majors, guys. Last in runs scored, last in slugging percentage, and last in on-base percentage. So not going to waste a lot of time talking about the White Sox offense, guys. Looking at the numbers for this one, the Guardians are minus 220. The White Sox are plus 184. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this game. Cleveland is 38-37 on the road. The White Sox are 18-54 at home. That's an MLB worst home mark. We've got both teams showing trends towards the under in this spot, which is pretty interesting because Cleveland is 41-28-6 to the under when playing on the road, and the White Sox are 40-29-3 to the under at home. So two big under teams. We've got an over-under of only 8.5 in this game. We've got a great bullpen there from Cleveland. The White Sox, obviously a pretty bad bullpen, but maybe they've been just a hair less bad recently. So, guys, I do think you could definitely take Cleveland at minus 220 or minus 1.5 or whatever you wanted to do, but I think the value in this game is that under 8.5. I think we could see a decent start from Cannon, and even if we don't, this Cleveland team does not hit the ball well, so I don't think they're going to get over that 8.5 number all on their own. So, give me under 8.5 in this one. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the Cincinnati Reds going on the road to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Reds come into this game winners of the last two in a row. They just won that little one-game makeup game against Atlanta. At 70-75 in the year, though, not probably going to be looking at a playoff berth. They're handing the ball in this one to Rhett Lauder, who's 0-1 on the year with a 0.87 ERA. His last start, very good against Houston. He went 6 1/3 innings, gave up 4 hits, no runs. He did walk 4. He's actually walked 4 in each of his first 2 starts, but the young guy has been looking pretty freaking good out there. At only 22 years old, can't be expecting miracles, but right now he is throwing the ball great. In terms of their bullpen, the Reds have been good this year, generally speaking, but they've hit a bit of a downturn recently, a 3.90 ERA coming out of the pen. No longer an elite number, but definitely a number that's not a disaster. So the things kind of boil down here to what are you going to get from the Reds offense. They've scored 1, 3, 0, 4, 1, 12, and 5 runs over their last several games. Not a great offensive team, guys. 14th in the majors in runs scored, 26th in the majors in batting average, though, 22nd in on-base percentage, getting on base at a 306 clip. Like, this is just not an elite offensive team any way you want to slice it. They've had their problems all year long. Elly De La Cruz, definitely a blast to watch him out there, but yeah, generally, this is not a good offensive team. So we'll see what they can do here against the Cardinals, who come into this game 72-71 on the year. They just can't seem to string things together. They're 10 games back in the NL Central. Handing the ball in this game to Andre Pallante, who is 6-7 on the year with a 4.07 ERA. His last start was definitely his worst in recent memory at the Brewers. Did not work out, guys. 5 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned runs. He gave up 2 home runs and walked 5 in that game. So not his best stuff. Generally speaking, this season has been very good, though. He's only 25 years old, so we can expect some inconsistency. The last time he faced the Reds was back in late June. He went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 4 hits and no runs in that game. So pretty good stuff there for sure. I'm expecting him to have a decent bounce back game here unless he's dealing with some sort of serious arm fatigue, but that seems like a bit of a stretch. In terms of their bullpen, the Cardinals have been pretty good here down the stretch. A 3.73 bullpen ERA has them easily in the top 10 in the majors, so they'll definitely take that. The problem for the Cardinals this year has been their offense, guys. They've scored 4, 2, 1, 3, and 7 runs over their last few games. They're 24th in the majors in runs scored, 21st in slugging percentage. They really have just been waiting for their 2 heavy hitter veterans to get it going, and that has not been the case this season. So definitely worrisome there. Not an offense that I am very high on at all. So we'll see what happens in this one. We've got the Reds at plus 110, the Cardinals at minus 130. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. The Reds are 33-36 on the road. St. Louis is 36-34 at home. We've got both teams showing some very slight trends towards the over in this situation, but I'm not too interested in that over-under, and I'm going to be honest, guys, I'm not super interested in this game in general. You could maybe talk me into the under, I suppose. In terms of a side in this game, I kind of want to side with the Reds at plus 110. I mean, they're playing pretty well right now. Lauder's been an exciting young guy out there on the mound, and they've got a good enough bullpen, so give me the Reds as a small lean in this one, but this is not going in the pinned comment. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the Oakland A's going on the road to take on the Houston Astros. Oakland comes into this game losers of 4 out of their last 5. They're handing the ball in this one to Osvaldo Bido, who's 5-3 on the year with a 3.41 ERA. His last outing was out of the bullpen. He only went 2 innings against Detroit, but it was very good. 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs allowed. He struck out 3 and walked 1. As a starter, he's been pretty serviceable. He did have a rough time in his last start back on the 2nd against Seattle, where he gave up 6 hits and 4 earned runs to a pretty weak hitting opponent. But generally speaking, this guy guy has some very, very solid starts under his belt. The last time he faced Houston, he went 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, only a single earned run in that game. He struck out 6 and walked 0 in a game we saw Oakland win against Houston 8-2. So very, very solid stuff from Beto. Definitely a guy that I like out there on the mound, and he should be pretty well rested with his last outing only being a bullpen appearance. It was on the 7th, so maybe we can't expect him to go super, super deep into this game, but if this ends up being an extended bullpen situation from Oakland, while they have taken some steps backwards recently, they've been a pretty good bullpen over the course of this season. So we'll see what they get from the pitching staff in this one. They really need the offense to turn things around though, guys. 1, 1, 7, 4, and 3 runs over their last few games. Not getting the job done. Haven't been a great offensive team this season, guys. We've seen good stuff from Brent Rooker, don't get me wrong there, but other than him, we don't have a ton of positives for this team on offense. I mean, they're 15th in the majors in slugging percentage. That's kind of cool, but 26th in runs scored and 25th in on-base percentage. So we'll see what they look like going up against the Astros, who come into this game fresh off of a tough loss. They just won that series against Arizona, so that's fun, but 76 and 66 on the year. They have to be very, very happy that Seattle hasn't had a good time here down the stretch. They're going to be handing the ball to Spencer Arrighetti, who's 7-12 this year with a 4.82 ERA. His last time out, he got absolutely destroyed. He only went 2/3 of an inning against the Reds. He got killed out there. A huge departure from what he's looked like recently, guys. He's been very, very good down the stretch, but yeah, the Reds just seemingly had his number. And the last time he pitched against Oakland, it was at Oakland back on July 22nd. He got slaughtered in that game. Maybe not slaughtered. I mean, 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs. Not his best stuff. So we'll see what he looks like in this one. We will note that was a 4-0 loss for Houston. So whenever Arrighetti has to come out of this game, we're going to see the Houston bullpen that's been very, very good down the stretch. A 3.51 bullpen ERA is definitely excellent. It's currently 4th in the majors. So impressive stuff there in terms of their offense. 6, 11, 8, 0, 5, and 3 runs over their last few games. Still pretty inconsistent. They're 12th in the majors in runs scored, but 3rd in batting average, 7th in on base percentage. Like, just not an offense that I feel like I can really trust. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the A's at plus 160. That's a pretty big number. We've got Houston at minus 184. We got an over-under in this game of 8.5. Oakland is only 26 and 43 on the road. Houston is 41 and 30 at home. So Houston a pretty good home team. Oakland a pretty bad road team. In terms of the over-under here, though, guys, that might be what we're more interested in. Oakland is 36, 31, and 2 to the under on the road, and they're swinging some pretty cold bats coming into this game. Houston is 37, 31, and 3 to the under at home. I wouldn't say they're swinging cold bats coming into this one, but going up against Arizona and going up against Beto and the Oakland A's bullpen, kind of 2 very different situations. So in this game, I definitely think there is some value on taking the A's at plus 160. There's a chance their bats could bounce back here against Arrighetti, someone they've done well against in the past. I'm not sure if I'm willing to put that in the pinned comment, although I do think it has some value. I also think there is significant value and a much more reasonable bet on the under 8.5. I think we're going to see Oakland's pitching staff have a good time against the Astros, who are definitely due for something of a bad hitting night, and I do think we're going to see the Oakland A's continue to struggle to hit the ball, especially against the Houston bullpen. So give me under 8.5 in this one. It seems like an excellent spot. Next up, guys, we're looking at the San Diego Padres going on the road to take on the Seattle Mariners. The Padres come into this game fresh off of losing 2 out of 3 there against the Giants at 81 and 64 on the year. They're 6 games back in the NL West, but a pretty good record nonetheless. They're going to be handing the ball to Yu Darvish in this game. He's 4-3 on the year with a 3.51 ERA. His last start, guys, not amazing against Detroit. He only lasted 2 2/3 innings. He gave up 3 earned runs on 4 hits. He gave up a home run in that game. Seems like this might be the beginning of the end here for Yu Darvish. Kind of disappointing to see that be the case for him, but we'll see what he can do. We'll also see what that Padres bullpen can do. A 3.84 bullpen ERA down the stretch here. Definitely not a huge problem, especially for a bullpen that was terrible early in the season. The offense has to carry this team. They've scored 6, 3, 5, 3, and 6 runs over their last few games. Manny Machado doing his thing. I mean, they're 7th in the majors in runs scored, 1st in batting average, batting .265 as a team. They're 10th in slugging percentage. Like, this is an offense that it just feels like they should be scoring a few more runs than they actually are. So we'll see what they can do in this one. I mean, going up against the Mariners, usually not the easiest team to hit. The Mariners come into this game 73 and 71 on the year, fresh off a 10-4 win against the Cardinals that netted them to 2-1 series win. They're 4.5 games back of Houston right now, so they need to have lots of urgency. They're handing the ball to George Kirby in this one, who's 11-10 this season with a 3.61 ERA. His last start was against the A's. He went 6 innings, gave up 6 hits and 2 earned runs, so very solid stuff there. Obviously taking on a team like the Padres, a little bit different than taking on the A's, and we've seen Kirby, who's only 26 years old, a fairly young major league starter, have some very inconsistent outings here down the stretch. Like I said, guys, we'll see what he looks like against the Padres. Not the easiest team to face. In terms of their bullpen, Seattle's been solid down the stretch and just solid all season long. A 3.80 bullpen ERA is almost exactly what you can always expect from them. Not incredible, but definitely not bad at all. The offense has been the problem. Obviously, coming off a game where they scored 10 runs is fun. 10, 0, 6, 6, and 16 runs over their last few games. This is probably the best hitting stretch that Seattle's had all season long, if I had to guess. They're 25th in the majors in runs scored, dead last in the majors in batting average still, though. 28th in slugging percentage. Like, not a great hitting team over the course of the year, but they're definitely swinging some hotter bats coming into this game. So, looking at the numbers for this one, we've got the Padres at -112, the Mariners at -102. We've got an over-under of 7 in this game. The Padres are 40-29 on the road, so not a bad road team at all. Seattle is 41-28 at home, so a very good home team. We've got both teams actually showing trends towards the under in this situation. San Diego is 35-33-1 to the under on the road, but Seattle is 41-24-4 to the under at home. So they're a big under team at home, but not the way they've been swinging the bats recently. And with an over-under of only 7 in this game, guys, I think over 7 has a lot of value. Darvish has been really, really bad. I expect Seattle to score some runs on him and probably some runs on the bullpen here. And also San Diego, they're a hard-hitting team. They're going up against George Kirby, who's been pretty inconsistent, and a Seattle bullpen that's not incredible. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be too hard to get to 8 runs in this game. Go ahead and give me the over. If you wanted to take a look at the Mariners -102 as well, I could maybe get behind that, but I think over 7 is definitely the value in this game. Rolling right along here through these games, guys, we've got the Texas Rangers going on the road to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Rangers come into this game fresh off of winning 3 out of 4 there against the Angels. They're 70-74 on the year, handing the ball to Nathan Eovaldi, who's 11-7 on the year with a 3.55 ERA. His last start against the Yankees was very, very good. 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs allowed in a game we saw the Rangers win 10-6. So very, very solid stuff there, and really no terrible outings for him over his last 5. The last time he went up against the Diamondbacks, he only lasted 3 innings. That was back in May, and he was fine over those 3 innings. I'm not exactly sure what happened out there that made him get jerked out of that game, but yeah, a little bit of a concern, but nothing massive if you ask me. The bullpen, though, for the Rangers is a big concern, guys. They're bottom 7 in the majors with a 4.39 bullpen ERA. So when Eovaldi comes out of this game, definitely lots of things to worry about. The offense has been cruising, guys. 7, 6, 1, 3, and 10 runs over their last few games. Definitely better than their season averages, where they're 21st in the majors in runs scored and 24th in the majors in slugging percentage. So yeah, plenty of concerns there. We'll see what they can do at the plate in this game. Corey Seager obviously has been very, very good this season, generally speaking, but only when he's available. Obviously, he's been out on the 10-day IL. We'll see when he comes back, but it's been a bit of a struggle for him to be available this season. So looking at their opponents in this game, they're taking on the Diamondbacks, who just lost 2 out of 3 against Houston. They did win the last game of that series 12-6. They're 80-64 in the year, 6.5 games back in the NL West. They're going to be giving the ball to Zach Gallen in this game, who's 11-6 on the season with a 3.69 ERA. His last start was against the Giants. He went 6 innings, gave up no hits, no runs, no home runs, obviously. He walked 4 and struck out 8. So very, very good stuff in a game we eventually saw Arizona win 6-4. So expecting pretty good stuff from Zach Gallen. He's been very, very solid here down the stretch. We'll see what he looks like here against the Texas Rangers, but I'm not expecting any sort of major step backwards. In terms of their bullpen, Arizona has not been good this season. A 4.36 ERA coming out of the pen is definitely something that could come back to bite them in the postseason. So we'll see how that goes, but they always have the offense to fall back on, guys. 12, 6, 0, 2, and 6 runs over their last few. Honestly, guys, that is slumping kind of numbers for this offense that's first in the majors in runs scored, 2nd in batting average, and 1st in on-base percentage. I'm expecting this Arizona team to really get after it out there at the plate in this game. And looking at the numbers, we've got the Rangers at +124, the Diamondbacks at -140. We've got an over-under of 8. Texas is 29-40 on the road, so a pretty bad road team. Arizona is 39-31 at home, so solid at home. We've got both teams showing trends towards the over here. The Rangers are 37-29-3 to the over on the road, and Arizona is 43-25-2 to the over at home. So you could talk me into over 8, absolutely, but with 2 decent starters out there, I might shy away from that and lean much more towards this Diamondbacks at -140. I think they'll have a good time in this game. I think they'll come away with a comfortable win, despite the Rangers putting their best starter on the mound. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we're looking at the Milwaukee Brewers going on the road to take on the San Francisco Giants. The Brewers come into this game fresh off of losing 2 out of 3 to Colorado and 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals, but still with a 9-game lead in the NL Central, they don't have much to worry about. They're going to be giving the ball to Aaron Savale in this game, who's 8-5 on the season with a 4.62 ERA. He's coming off a mediocre start against the Cardinals, but a very good start before that against the Giants. He's been a little bit inconsistent, but definitely a nice guy to have in the mix there for this struggling Milwaukee pitching staff. Obviously, having that success against the Giants is going to be key in this matchup, but unfortunately, we don't have any numbers for this game yet, so we'll see what they put out there for us in terms of their bullpen. We've seen Milwaukee be very, very good all year long. They're second in the majors with a 2.80 bullpen ERA, so that's obviously fantastic. Their offense has been good overall this season, but bad recently, guys. 1, 5, 2, 2, and 4 runs over their last few games. They're 6th in the majors in runs scored, 10th in the majors in batting average, but these numbers are starting to slip. So we'll see what they can get done here against the Giants, who have won 3 out of their last 4, including 2 out of their last 3 at the Padres. They're 71-73 on the year, so still lots of work to do. Hitting the ball in this game to young Hayden Birdsong, who's 3-5 overall this season with a 5.19 ERA. His last start was great against the Diamondbacks, though, so give the kid some credit there. Going up against a team like Milwaukee, the last time he faced the Brewers, he got absolutely shelled, so we're definitely worried about that. We'll see. There's still a chance maybe he's not a fully confirmed starter, so we'll see what happens out there. Definitely a little bit concerned there for the Giants, and in terms of their bullpen, that hasn't been great down the stretch, or just this season in general. Maybe a little bit improved down the stretch, but a 4.02 ERA this season, not very good. And the offense, they're cruising right now, but this season haven't put up great numbers. They've scored 7, 6, 1, and 3 runs over their last few games. They're 16th in the majors in runs scored, 19th in the majors in batting average. Honestly, this is looking like an average to slightly below average offense. So looking at the numbers for this game, unfortunately, there aren't a lot of them. You'll have to check that pinned comment to see once the numbers are released if this ends up in there, but right now, really not a lot we can say with no numbers out there. Last but not least, guys, we're looking at the Chicago Cubs going on the road here to take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Cubs come into this game where the Cubs and Dodgers are actually playing right now in game 1 still, with the Cubs now up 7-2 in the top of the 6th inning, so not looking great for the Dodgers. The Cubs are going to be handing the ball to Shota Imanaga here in this game 2. He's 12-3 on the season with a 2.99 ERA. His last start, he threw 7 innings of no-hit ball against the Pirates, so very, very dominant. He's been dominant pretty much all season long. There's the occasional hiccup mixed up in there, don't get me wrong, but the dude has been lights out this season, even with a good start against this Dodgers team back in the very, very beginning of the season. We'll see what he can do. The Cubs bullpen has been pretty good down the stretch as well, easily top 10 with a 3.72 bullpen ERA. The offense has not been swinging the hottest bats, though, guys. Obviously coming alive here in game 1 of this series, but generally speaking, not the hottest hitting team, and on the year, they are 21st in the majors in batting average. So probably going to have to hit the ball well against the Dodgers here in game 2 of this series. The Dodgers are 86-57 on the year, obviously cruising along there in the NL West. They're going to be giving the ball in this one to Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is 6-2 on the season with a 2.92 ERA. He's coming off of the IL with a triceps injury, so we'll see how he looks in his first start back since June. So yeah, going to be a bit interesting to see what he can do. I'm expecting decent stuff. I don't think they would rush him back, at least not at this point in the season. It wouldn't really make any sense, so we'll see what he can get done out there. And this bullpen has been great all season long, a 3.57 bullpen ERA to go along with one of the best offenses in Major League Baseball. Obviously, Ohtani's been absolutely insane. They're 3rd in the majors in runs scored, 3rd in the majors in on-base percentage, and 2nd in slugging percentage. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Cubs at +130, the Dodgers at -154. We've got an over-under of 8.5 out there. The Cubs are 35-37 on the road. The Dodgers are 47-24 at home. That's an MLB best mark at home. In terms of the over-under, we've got both teams showing some slight trends towards the over, or at least the Cubs trend is slight, and the Dodgers are 39-29-3 to the over at home. Not too interested in an over in this game, guys. Go ahead and give me the Cubs at +130. That seems like a very, very good price with Imanaga out there on the mound. Obviously, facing the Dodgers can be tough, but I think he's up to the task. He is an absolutely elite starter. Is this going to go in the pinned comment? Honestly, guys, getting the Cubs at +130, I feel like there's a good chance. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.